Hi everyone, nice to see you again. In China, there is a very interesting culture called 相亲, matchmaking. This is a way for unfamiliar men and women to get to know each other with the purpose of marriage. And it's the most common way for Chinese people to find a marriage partner. Today, let's talk about this. This channel is about showing a real China in every aspect. If you are interested, just subscribe me. Thank you. 相亲 originating over thousands years ago in ancient China. Parents always take the lead in 相亲. During that time, marriage were entirely orchestrated by parents, and the children had no right to oppose. Consequently, prospective partners might not meet each other until the day of their wedding. When selecting spouse for their children, parents prioritize the factors such as family background, social status, and economic conditions. They typically sought matches from families of a similar social stratum. In the case of the bridge, it was common to look for a family with greater strength and resources. This situation lasted until nearly a century ago. With the advent of modern civilization in China, the dynamics of 相亲 underwent a transformation. Parents transitioned into the role of matchmaker, and children began to have rights to make decisions about their marriage during the 相亲 process. Concurrently, as the social values and the individual's spiritual perspective evolved, there were changes in the criteria for choosing a spouse now. So let's talk about the current 相亲 in China from 4 aspects. 1. The age. In China, there is a distinction in the age at which men and women start 相亲. Generally, young men begin 相亲 after the age of 25, which is around 3 years after completing their undergraduate studies. After working for 3 years, parents believe that the young man's career is gradually stabilizing and it's time to establish a stable family. If a young man is still unmarried at the age of 30, his parents may start feeling anxious. Watching their friends enjoy the company of grandchildren, they become envious and eager to have grandchildren of their own. It prompts them to urge their son to get married soon. Once a man crosses the age of 32, 相亲 becomes challenging. People may criticize him for being too old and question whether his standards are too high. If he surpasses the age of 35, there is a high probability that he will either live a lonely life or end up with a divorced woman. Yes, divorcees face a significant disadvantage in 相亲, especially women, and those with the children from a previous marriage are the least favored. Generally, divorced men or men over 35 are often matched with divorced women. If a man is divorced and has children, he is inevitably matched with a divorced woman who also has children, unless he is wealthy. Young women typically begin 相亲 at the age of 22, right after graduating from college. This early start is because their families are aware that high-quality men within a similar age range, typically around 3 years older, are scarce. These young women must seize the golden window of opportunity between the age of 22 and 25. Once they reach the age of 28 to 30, they may find themselves with men who have been passed over by other women, indicating that the available option may not be as favorable. Moreover, women in this age group often find themselves in a passive position in the 相亲 market. Men of the similar age prefer youngers, while those interested in them are typically over 30, which may not align with women's preference. This situation creates a dilemma where they face difficulty finding suitable matches. Beyond the age of 30, this challenge intensifies, and by the age of 35, it's often considered that the woman may face the prospect of remaining unmarried. 2. The criteria. In Xiangqing, the most highly valued aspect is the economic condition of both sides. Based on economic status, people can generally be categorized into three groups: the poor, the middle class, and the wealthy. In the Xiangqing process, as long as the economic disparity is not too big, women usually hold a superior position. Poor women may be matched with poor or middle-class men, but they typically had limited opportunities to be matched with wealthy men. Middle-class women have the option to choose from the middle-class or wealthy men. Generally, they may choose middle-class men because they understand that wealthy men often match with wealthy women. Wealthy families typically expect their sons and daughters to consolidate their social status through marriage. However, a significant issue arises here. Due to the influence of many Cinderella-type dramas, many poor women are reluctant to choose poor men. They may only consider the middle-class men or fantasize about wealthy men. This had led to a significant phenomenon in China where there is a large group of single men and women. The fundamental reason lies in the fact that poor women look down on poor men, leaving poor men with limited choice, and thus both end up being single. The phenomenon of being single due to lack of choices is not prevalent in middle class and wealthy families. On the foundation of suitable economic conditions, people began to consider other factors such as appearance, occupation, personality, interest, negative habits, education background, and more. However, ultimately, these criteria are relatively secondary. 3. Where to find resources for Xiangqing? The most common way is to through professional matchmakers. Generally, professional matchmakers are women in the age of 40s or 50s who own their own marriage introduction agencies. Both men and women register their basic information with them, and the matchmakers handle the matching and recommendations. If a successful match leads to marriage, the matchmakers receive a substantial fee from men, ranging from 20,000 to 50,000, or even higher. Therefore, matchmakers tend to embellish the qualities of both the men and women parts to get the fee. For example, if a man is not wealthy, they may say he has potential. If he is not handsome, they may say he is honest and reliable. If he looks older and overweight, they may say him maturity and stability. In short, they will do everything possible to exaggerate, beautify, or even lie about the individuals involved for the sake of the high fee. The most reliable way is through introductions by parents, friends, colleagues, or relatives. They won't lie and will provide the most genuine information about the person. Their goal is simply to introduce high-quality men or women. In Chinese Xiangqing, having a thorough understanding of a person is crucial, and this introducer serves as a guarantee of getting to know the other part thoroughly. Apart from that, in every city in China, there are Xiangqing corners, specific places that display personal information for Xiangqing. Parents provide their children basic information such as name, age, occupation, income, property ownership, education background, and so on. Young men find it awkward to go to these corners themselves. feeling like they are treated as commodities with price tags. So their parents is always the one to go to find suitable matches on their behalf in the Xiangqing corner. These are the ways to get Xiangqing resources. 4. How to Xiangqing. First, parents obtain basic background information and contact details of the potential partners through their friends, colleagues, relatives, or professional matchmakers. Then they pass the information to their children. If the children are initially satisfied with the potential partner, and they agreed on a time and a place to meet for a face-to-face conversation. They often choose an elegant coffee shop or tea house, which is not too high-priced but a decent environment. Of course, the man typically covers the expense. Once seated, they start conversation. Based on my personal experience and on that on my friends, the conversation is always quite awkward. Since they are two complete strangers, awkward silence may occur during the chat, as it is challenging for individuals who have just met. In this situation, the man usually takes the initiative to bring up various topics. If the woman is well-mannered, the conversation can proceed somewhat smooth. However, if the woman is uninterested or lacks manners, even 5 minutes might feel uncomfortable. After the conversation, if both parts have a positive impression of each other, they can exchange contact information and continue communication via phone. Of course, it's the man who takes the initiative in various conversations. Many individuals I know have given up at this stage because the lack of initiative from the woman makes. They feel powerless and disrespected. Of course, some endure this and continue to initiate conversations. Usually, after 2 or 3 meetings, they may declare that they are officially together. Within 1 to 3 months, they proceed to marriage. This makes the completion of a very Chinese-style matchmaking process. Sounds interesting and unbelievable, right? In general, Xiangqing is a valuable way for young men and women to meet each other, especially in China where opportunities to meet new people become scarce once you start to work. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Xiangqing. While it's efficient, it lacks love, romance, and seems overly pragmatic. Age and financial status shouldn't be the primary criteria for determining whether someone is worthy of love. So I'd like to say, long live love. Well, that's it for today. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.